What if everything you've been told about positive thinking is actually making you miserable? That forced smile. Those affirmations in the mirror. The Instagram posts about gratitude while you're secretly falling apart. We've all been there. For decades, we've been bombarded with the message that positive thinking is the answer to everything. Just think happy thoughts and your life will transform. Stay positive no matter what. Good vibes only. But what if this obsession with happiness is actually causing more harm than good? What if the pressure to always be positive is making us more anxious, less authentic, and ultimately, less happy? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the dark side of positivity culture that nobody's talking about. You'll discover why suppressing negative emotions might be sabotaging your mental health, how toxic positivity is gaslighting millions of people, and most importantly, what to do instead. This isn't about embracing negativity, it's about something much more powerful. Let's dive in. Chapter 1: How We Got Here. The Positivity Industrial Complex. Let's start with how we got here. The modern positivity movement didn't appear out of nowhere. It's actually a multi-billion-dollar industry with deep roots. It began in the early 1900s with books like Think and Grow Rich and The Power of Positive Thinking. These works suggested that changing your thoughts could directly change your external reality, including your wealth, health, and happiness. Fast forward to 2006, when The Secret exploded onto the scene, promising that the law of attraction could give you anything you wanted just by thinking about it. The message was simple: positive thoughts attract positive outcomes, and negative thoughts attract negative ones. This idea exploded into a massive industry. Self-help gurus charging thousands for seminars, corporate mindset training programs, wellness influencers selling positivity as a lifestyle, good vibes only, merchandise everywhere. And who benefits from all this? Let's be real. It's not usually the people buying the books and attending the seminars. The positivity industrial complex makes billions by convincing you that your unhappiness is your fault. The solution is to buy their product. If it doesn't work, you're not doing it right. But here's what they don't tell you about all this positive thinking. Chapter 2: The Science Behind Toxic Positivity. What exactly happens in your brain when you force yourself to think positive all the time? The research is actually pretty alarming. In a groundbreaking study by psychologists James Gross and Robert Levinson, participants who suppressed negative emotions while watching upsetting films experienced increased physiological stress responses. Their blood pressure went up, their heart rates increased, and they actually felt worse afterward. This is what psychologists now call emotional suppression, and it's terrible for your mental health. When you deny your authentic emotional reactions and force positivity, three things happen. Your negative emotions don't disappear. They go underground. Your body stays in a state of physiological stress. You lose touch with your authentic self. It's like pushing a beach ball underwater. It takes constant energy, and eventually, it's going to explode back up with even more force. Dr. Susan David from Harvard Medical School calls this emotional rigidity, being stuck in one emotional response regardless of what's happening around you. Her research shows that emotional flexibility, not constant positivity, is what leads to better mental health. But the problems with forced positivity go way beyond just feeling bad. Coming up next, how positive thinking might be keeping you stuck in situations you should actually leave, and the shocking way it's being used to manipulate vulnerable people. You won't believe what some corporations are doing. Chapter 3: When Positive Thinking Becomes Gaslighting. Just think positive. Look on the bright side. Everything happens for a reason. These phrases might seem harmless, but in many contexts, they're actually a form of gaslighting, making you question your own reality. Here's a real example. Imagine you're working at a company with terrible pay, awful hours, and an abusive boss. You express your legitimate concerns to HR. What do they tell you? You need to be more positive about your work environment. Have you tried gratitude journaling? This is happening in workplaces everywhere. Companies use positivity culture to deflect responsibility for toxic environments, place blame on employees for not being positive enough, avoid making meaningful changes, and it goes beyond the workplace. Think about someone struggling with a serious illness, being told positive thinking will cure you, or someone facing discrimination being told just focus on the good stuff. This isn't just unhelpful, it's actively harmful. It takes legitimate external problems and frames them as personal mindset failures. Psychologists call this internalization, taking external problems and believing they're your fault. And it's incredibly damaging. The truth is, sometimes life is genuinely difficult. Sometimes systems are broken. Sometimes people treat us badly. And no amount of positive thinking will fix these external realities. As Professor Barbara Ehrenreich points out in her book, Bright-Sided, positivity culture has become a tool of social control and a way of disabling criticism of the status quo. But what's the alternative? Should we all just be negative instead? Not exactly. Chapter 4. The Power of Emotional Flexibility. What if I told you there's something more powerful than positive thinking? It's called emotional flexibility, and the research suggests it's what truly resilient people have mastered. Dr. Todd Kashdan's research at George Mason University found that people with high emotional flexibility, the ability to experience a full range of emotions and still take meaningful action, had better relationships, more life satisfaction, lower rates of anxiety and depression, higher resilience during difficult times. The most resilient people aren't always positive. They're emotionally agile. They can feel sadness, anger, or fear, acknowledge those emotions, learn from them, and still move forward. Think about it. What are negative emotions actually for? Fear warns us of danger. Anger tells us when boundaries have been crossed. Sadness helps us process loss. Anxiety prepares us for challenges. These emotions aren't barriers to a good life. They're valuable signals, giving us important information. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, called this approach tragic optimism, finding meaning in suffering while acknowledging life's difficulties. It's not blind positivity, but something much deeper and more sustainable. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, Frankl wrote. In that space is our power to choose our response. This is the true power, not forcing positivity, but choosing how to respond to whatever emotions arise. Coming up next, the radical approach that's replacing positive thinking in therapy, business, and relationships, and the 3 practical steps you can take today to build true emotional resilience. Chapter 5. The Misalignment Problem. Here's something the positivity industry doesn't want you to realize. Most people are trying to think positively about a life they secretly hate. No amount of affirmations can fix a fundamentally misaligned life. If you're in the wrong job, the wrong relationship, or living against your values, forcing positive thoughts is like putting a bandage on a broken leg. Happiness isn't created by thoughts. It emerges naturally when your actions, values, and environment are aligned. Let me give you an example. Sarah was a corporate lawyer making 6 figures. She did everything the positivity books told her: gratitude journals, affirmations, vision boards. But she was still miserable. Why? Because no amount of positive thinking could change the fact that she hated practicing law. Her values, creativity, helping others, work-life balance, were completely misaligned with her daily reality. Once she quit and started teaching art to kids, something aligned with her actual values, guess what? She didn't need forced positivity anymore. Joy emerged naturally. The problem wasn't her mindset. The problem was misalignment. This is what systems thinking teaches us. Problems aren't always in the person. They're often in the environment or the system. Psychologist Yuri Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory shows that human development and well-being are influenced by multiple interconnected systems, from family and community to economic structures and cultural values. So instead of asking, how can I think more positively about this situation? Try asking, is this situation aligned with my values? What needs to change in my environment? Am I in systems that support or undermine my well-being? Sometimes the most authentic move isn't to stay positive. It's to make a change. Chapter 6. The Synthesis, a Better Approach. So what does all this mean for your life? How do we move beyond toxic positivity without falling into cynicism? The answer isn't to reject positivity completely. It's to integrate it with emotional truth. Here's a framework I call authentic integration. Number 1, honest awareness. Acknowledge all emotions without judgment. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Without trying to change it immediately. Farce 2, curious exploration. Get interested in negative emotions. Ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Rather than pushing it away. 3, aligned. Action. Move forward based on both your emotions and your values. Sometimes this means making changes to your external reality, not just your thoughts. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Imagine you're feeling anxious about your job. The toxic positivity approach, just be grateful you have a job. Think positive thoughts. Ignore those bad feelings. The authentic integration approach, acknowledge, I'm feeling anxious about work. Explore. This anxiety might be telling me something important about my situation. Align. Based on this information and my values, I'll either make changes at my current job, look for a new one, or reframe my relationship to work. This approach isn't about rejecting happiness. It's about building a more authentic and sustainable relationship with your full emotional experience. As researcher Brené Brown says, we cannot selectively numb emotions. When we numb the painful emotions, we also numb the positive emotions. By embracing the full spectrum of human emotion, we actually become more capable of experiencing genuine joy, not the forced kind that collapses under pressure. Chapter 7. Practical Steps for Emotional Agility. Let's get practical. How do you actually develop this emotional agility in daily life? Here are 3 evidence-based techniques you can start using today. 1. The name and note practice. Research from UCLA found that simply naming emotions reduces their intensity. When you feel a negative emotion, pause and breathe. Name the emotion specifically. This is anxiety, or I'm feeling disappointed. Note where you feel it in your body. Continue with your day without trying to fix or change it. This takes less than 30 seconds, but can dramatically reduce emotional reactivity. The values alignment check. When facing a difficult situation, identify your top 3 to 5 core values, like connection, creativity, growth, security. Ask, is my current response aligned with these values? Choose actions that move you toward your values, even if emotions are difficult. Research shows that values-based action improves mental health even when emotions are painful. The both and perspective. Replace either or thinking with both and thinking. I can both feel anxious and take meaningful action. This situation can both be difficult and contain opportunities. I can both acknowledge problems and cultivate hope. This cognitive flexibility is associated with better problem solving and emotional resilience. The goal isn't to feel good all the time. The goal is to develop the capacity to feel everything and still move toward a meaningful life. Conclusion: beyond toxic positivity. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the positivity industrial complex to the power of emotional flexibility. The truth is, positive thinking isn't bad. It's incomplete. Use it as a tool, not a religion. Pair it with self-awareness, emotional agility, and system design. Before you try to stay positive, ask, am I aligned with what I truly value? What is this negative feeling trying to tell me? Is it me, or is it the environment? Sometimes the most powerful move isn't to think happy. It's to get radically honest, then build from there. The most resilient people aren't those who never feel negative emotions. They're people who have developed the capacity to feel everything, the full depth of human experience, and still move toward what matters most. That's not toxic positivity. That's true emotional strength. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe for more myth-busting videos that challenge conventional wisdom. Life's too short for fake positivity.